Hello. Welcome everybody to Old Gray Bricks. We are hanging out here and trying to get all of our technologies to work. I'm having a problem. Mark's having a problem. And Jeff from Canada has come in to try to save us and everything. We do have some more friends that'll be popping in. We hope later on in the show. But it may just be us for a moment. Sorry, I had an email message there. Moto, let me throw Moto an invite there. I don't think I put you in there, Moto. So let me do that real quick.
I looked at my Firefox settings and it says I need to install an update. Maybe that's what the problem is. I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out how to pull up the show without having the audio come over because it's because I usually would just mute the page, or mute the volume, but I'm talking, so that doesn't work that well. So I'm working on it.
Cool. Is this a professional program or what? So, anyway, our friends have abandoned us. Our technology is failing us, but we can talk about the cool show in just a minute. Here we have a Wax Splat from Scotland is here. Stever is here. His comment on the show is it surely was something, and it was not a waste of time. What? About 10 minutes out. All right, Moto may be here. Hopefully Stephen will be here to join us and a couple of our other friends. Dana got paged for work. That happens. It happens often. So anyway, Stephen Erickson is popping in the room.
Hello, Chris. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you. How was the joy of building today?
It was fun. We had a good day. Are we live? We are live.
We are live. Yes, you're on the internet right now. So
yes, I'm once again. No surprise there. It was very fun. We signed some paperwork and stuff, and it was quite eventful. We might shake it up every month, and we'll do a terrible set, like a Znaps set, or we'll do like a Ben 10 set, or Jack Stone, heaven forbid.
Don't do that.
Or the worst of all, Next Nights, So, but we might, like, once a month we'll do a terrible set.
I would say that's a little bit more top of the heat than some of those you were just mentioning. I'm just going to say. So anyway, all right. So let me we'll just go ahead and talk the show just a little bit. I think Jeff's working on some screen caps for us. What would you have done? I mean, I know you just pick a dog, right, and everything. What techniques do you think you would have done on your season had you built a dog? This seems in y'all's wheelhouse. I mean, totally in your wheelhouse. So,
what would I would have made? Good question.
You would have made a dog. I get that, but
which dog? My I think he's a Scottish Shepherd, something Australian Shepherd mix. My sister and brother-in-law, they're great. They have a dog named Bennett. You ever check out my sister's Instagram? You'll see pictures of him. Gorgeous little dog, little pooch. He's just an adorable little fella, and a beautiful. He looks like a mix between a collie and like a border collie mix, sort of. It's a very interesting looking dog, but he looks great. I would have made him. That would have been perfect. I would have had a lot of fun. Technique wise, good question. Probably would have done. I would have hoped that I would have done something like Greg and Brendan's, because that was really, really good. Let's just say that. So obviously you want to use snot techniques. You want to use stabilization. I would have gone with just make the leg connections as strong as possible. That's what I would have gone to. Whether or not we've used Technic would have depended on the color a bit. Some of the techniques there.
A couple of them failed at the neck.
Yes. Did not see that coming.
That's where the successful models had strong necks, because you have to drag it by the leash, and legs that did not fall off. I mean, those are the two key components.
And wheels that worked good too. That was important as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of things to balance. This was kind of like our hat challenge a little bit. They had to take a model from point A to point B, which is not as easy as it sounds. So that was definitely, I got a lot of vibes from the hat challenge of ours. I would have probably favored plates. But for the hair, I would have gone with something like our Canadian team. What's their names? With the jerseys.
Emily and Dave.
Emily and Dave, I think their names are. Yeah. I would have gone with plates like theirs to kind of like emphasize the stuff, maybe smoothing it out a little bit here and there, but I would have really leaned into plates as a favorite technique for something on that scale, I think would have been fine. But then if you get the time, add teeth, add barbs, other things to kind of add that little bit of fluff. But yeah, it was really, I thought this was going to be a Madhouse episode, but I loved it. It was really good. I can imagine behind the scenes was terrible, but
do you think they had a rule that they had to take the dog to the brick pit? Because every time you saw them, they were taking a dog to the brick pit. Do you think that was a rule?
It may have been. I don't know for sure, but it may very well have been. I saw Greg do it a number of times with their I forget the species.
The Dalmatian? No, that was Steven.
Yeah, I forget the name of their dog, but I did see that quite a bit. I wonder if that was a thing that would have really hurt a lot of people.
Yeah, it would have. Or maybe they just said, "Here, it's time for you to take the dog to the thing and get a beauty shot, of them running the dog and everything."
Some of those were a little bit planned. The running to the models and running to the big print and back. I really wonder. That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, grabbing the B-roll shots for the dogs. Yeah. Hey, Brick Jedi, how are you? Good to have you here.
Brick Jedi.
All right, so let's talk about just the start of the episode. They had to run and grab the color of the collar, which was good. They didn't freak the dogs out, right? But was that a Lego built table and he just like plowed into it, or what? What happened there? It was hilarious, but
I mean, if it was a brick built table, it wasn't a very well built table, because if you see Ethan, he literally bounces off of it, and then you see Crash come in, and well, that's his nickname. That's what I call him, because I've been told that that's what he goes by, is Crash.
Wait. Time out. Are you doing your TikTok thing over there where you have to take the picture of the what now thing or whatever?
He's social mediaing over there.
Mark is he's doing a little side gig there and everything. So
I've got one picture, so I'm getting there. I just got to figure it out.
You got one, yay!
Yes.
I have to find the section in the show where they're putting the stuff up. So we'll get that.
That's going to go down as one of the more legendary moments of season 3. Him just demolishing that table. It was. I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Taking screenshots from Hulu is also like a game of how many ads do I have to watch. It's like, okay, I watch here's the segment, take the screenshot. Oh, I have to wait a minute and a half of ads.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. All right. So, do you think? And I wonder about. Obviously, the golden brick was used. I think we saw that coming about halfway through the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it was fair that some of the dogs were smaller and some of the dogs were like? I mean, you had a dog this size versus a dog, Dalmatian size or Bulldog size. Was that fair?
I think I would say yes, but the only reason I would say that that's fair, I don't know how you guys would feel about that, but the only reason I'd say that's fair is because you had an opportunity to get a different dog. You had to make a mad dash for the thing. There was no way there was planned. You're going to get the Dalmatian. You're going to get the Bulldog. I would not have expected that. I think because you get to choose your dog,
okay,
that would make it fair. But yeah, it would have been nice to see a little bit more. I think in general they were pretty close.
Yeah, well, maybe it was because you had the small dogs had more detail and furry fur, I guess, and the big dogs maybe not. But so that some of the teams struggled. All right? So I'm see if you can figure out any of the briefs they got. Were there any? Did the size has to be exactly the size of the dog? I mean, in general, or what do you think? What do you think they heard? We don't have domination.
It was the closer the better. Closer the better to the size. I think that's what they wanted.
They wanted they wanted an exact duplicate of the dog was the instructions. That means size, scale, shape, color, emotions, all that stuff.
I wonder if how much warning they gave them is like you have to drag this by the neck up the.
I bet they were told
from the beginning. Yeah, all the rules are clearly articulated from the very beginning.
Okay,
in excruciating detail.
That's what we called planning time. Just don't listen to the rules. Just plan in your head. Get it clarified later if you need to. That's all you need. So.
All right. So how we doing, Vin Winning? How many you got?
It's taken a while. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm getting there. I'm
Moto.
perfecting it. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
Moto, what dog would you have made?
I don't know. I mean, I'm fast, but I'm not crash fast. So whatever it was, I don't know. It just would have been a hodgepodge.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Is there a dog in your circle of influence that you would want to build?
Yeah, I mean, we have smaller dogs at home, so I would have definitely gone for a smaller dog just because that's what I'm used to.
It's our dog theme show, so I'm going to let Seti say hi to all of our viewers.
And definitely, with the smaller scale, you can work the technic structure a lot faster and add more detail. So I think that would have been an advantage. I would have gone for lower center gravity.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems like the bulldog. You had to put a large mass of bricks together, and they went straight up brick. Right, we'll get to it when we get to the pictures and stuff. But they built straight brick. Was that obviously it kind of was? Was that the wrong strategy or?
Not really. I think you just wouldn't want to make it solid. You need to sculpt two layers deep. 4 to 6 studs thickness on each side as you go around. Just to make sure it doesn't collapse. But yeah, if you made it one solid chonker, you'd be in trouble.
That is from Meredith. That is Doug in his lobster costume.
That's amazing.
I think we need to call the Department of whatever Dog Protection Services because
the Humane Society.
Freaky dog. So and then we'll talk about these in a little bit too. The one dog that's the tallest, they actually built squatted down. I thought maybe they would get dinged for that, but they got praise for that and everything. Was that fair?
No, I mean, it was fair if they could make the dog do the smoky shuffle, as I called it, and they did on the runway, so that you could see that the dog was trained to perform that task. So that worked in their favor.
They did have him. They got him to do the trick with a treat and everything.
That was really cool.
That's smart. That was a smart.
I think that was a brilliant idea.
No, I think it was.
I think the reason the judges didn't knock them, not just that he could do the trick, but it also made the dog look more alive, especially when you zoomed out. It really looked like the dog was like, waiting for a treat or something like that. It was playing. Versus some of the dogs looked a little bit stagnant, just staring blankly forward. So they I think they improved on it, and kudos to them for outsmarting the competition a little bit. The challenge, outsmarting the challenge.
They had some good strategery.
It was good.
They did have good strategery. All
I
right.
like
So the breeds of dogs. I would have wished a Basset because I like Bassets because we have one. Basset would have been really nice and iconic to be on there. What other dog do you think could have made it or should have made it on the show?
I'm surprised there wasn't a Labrador, but that's another kind of big, medium-sized, 45 to 50 pound dog.
Wasn't Will Arnett's dog a Labrador?
It was.
That was a golden retriever.
It was a golden
retriever.
Right?
Yeah. So all right. So all right. Let's go ahead. I don't know if you can throw up what you got, Jeff, or are you still?
I'm amazed, by the way, production. Hats off to you on the logistics because you would have had to have a trainer / handler for every single dog on that set.
That's true.
So they probably that was probably one hell of a logistical thing.
Yeah. So that's my brother-in-law, and that is Bennett. So sorry, it's blurry, but he's a really cute little guy, and that's when he was much younger, but he's adorable. So.
But yeah, you have to have professional camera-ready dogs that are trained for set, and they had to get all of those and then get them show-worthy. And man, that must have been there must have been a green room for dogs too, which is another thing people don't think about.
Don't they just call that a kennel?
on set, I mean, there's all sorts of feeding and poopy times and walkies, and I mean, that must have been just crazy.
For 2 days? For 2 days at least?
2 or 3, yeah. That must have been nuts.
Oh, yeah. The chaos.
It was, sometimes I'm trying to look and see with the progress of the builds on the tables for the camera cuts to see what part of the show that it actually was taking a clip from and everything. It was a little hard there, but I was like, oh, look, the dogs, because I was all into the dogs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So the contestants themselves seemed quite ecstatic about that. Let me ask you, I think this, in my opinion, was actually the most natural, non-cringe version of hosting that Will Arnett has done and everything. Did y'all notice that? Did it seem that way to you guys?
I think he was having a lot of fun. I think he was really enjoying himself on that episode. I think you saw the best of his comedy come through. He's like any human being. He can get nervous sometimes. Like I believe he called Hamish asking for tips on how to talk to the teams from Australia. I believe he did that at one point. Back when he was first starting out. Yeah, it's hilarious. Cool. Yeah. So,
is that good?
I think. What's that?
Is that good?
Yeah, definitely.
You seem to be enjoying it.
I think he was enjoying the episode. I think he was having fun with the dogs and everybody, and a hilarious exchange between him and Nick about the butt wiggle. That was like, okay, this is hilarious. They're just everyone was having a good time. I think on that episode.
Yeah, I mean, I got a feeling you guys would have enjoyed having all of a sudden a pet. Something you can snuggle with, cuddle with. You got a real life model to work with, kind of thing. That would have probably lightened the mood. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a trend for the season for me. Is ours was really hardcore technical, and so compared to the Hats episode, they have a runway. They have to do the same runway concept, but it leans more into the storytelling and aesthetics than just the pure, like, not that ours didn't have aesthetics, but just the challenge of those hats was redonk when you think about the balance and you had to walk down a runway. Whereas this one was a little bit more easy to get your head wrapped around with, kind of like off the bat, you can kind of say, okay, yeah, I get it. There's a neck, there's a structure. It's got to get down to the wheels.
Has to be this big.
Yeah, it's got to be the exact size. I've got a dog here. For me, that was more approachable and more fun than kind of the insanity of season 2, which I like. They're getting more into the storytelling aspects and the aesthetics, the pure aesthetic joy of some of the stuff.
How much of that do you think the difference in the 2 seasons is a COVID thing?
I don't know.
Like, hard to say.
Yeah,
it was filmed at the tail end. It was filmed at the tail end of the pandemic in early this spring. Or it was early this spring.
They probably had COVID protocols on their set. They just probably weren't as hardcore.
Probably.
I'll put it in air quotes, hardcore that we had.
From what I know is they still had to wear masks when the cameras were off.
I believe face shields as well. I can't confirm that, but I believe so.
Okay, there you go. And they rode all separately, but when they got to the hotel, I think they could interact in the hotel with each other, which was something y'all could not do. Is that or maybe possibly
you couldn't go outside. The only time you could go outside was to do a run, to jog around the exterior.
In the parking lot.
In the parking lot, yeah.
Or in this case, to go walk the dog.
Yeah.
Did y'all not even go to Target? I mean, you couldn't walk over to Target?
No.
You had to order it on an app, and they had to drop it in a lobby, and then they had to leave the lobby before you could come get it.
Pretty much. There was that one time, though, where we had a sushi bar. That was awesome. But
I wasn't around for that one.
Oh, sure you were. Sure. Oh, yeah. Sure you weren't. Yeah, I don't remember taking your picture and all that stuff. Yeah, that didn't happen. So, but no, that was. I think it's a little more lenient. I think I have to 100% agree though. They are not doing nearly as much on the technical level, like the tower challenge versus the bucking bull challenge. The tower challenge was like make a tower. Well, sure, but we didn't get enough time to really decorate anything. It was like just see how fast you can build, for example, which in my opinion, my least favorite episode is episode 3. And then theirs was a bucking bull. You have to make a character have some more hours. Sure, it's a harder challenge, but you get to make something that's supposed to be wild and funny. Cactuses, octopus, cowgirls, aliens.
They think through it, right? They learn from every season. They evolve and adopt. So
I think I like a lot of what I'm seeing. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I mean, from every season they adopt, and I think that they took notes from the internet like everybody does, and they get feedback. They have eyes everywhere, and they said, and the challenge designers, hats off to them, or not hats off. It's for the dogs,
Every dog has his day.
All right, so this challenge was 11 hours. Is that right? Are these shorter than y'all's as the challenge time? I can't remember.
Not really. I think
I'm trying to think. It felt like y'all had 15s and stuff like that, but I may be wrong.
No. We had more like 9s and 10s and stuff. I think this one is it's about the same. 1 hour. I think it's relatively the same. We could, by the time the show's over, we could check and see. But I think it's about the same. It just seems like it anyway.
I've got 7 shots now, just so you know.
Okay, that's cool. And they're not adding because they did in y'all season and then didn't film them or make a big deal about them. But y'all had secondary challenges like the hat. You had to make some bling to go with it. Is that correct?
Oh, correct. A twist. Yeah, for the hat, that was the twist they threw, and they didn't talk about the twist, but it was there in place.
Yeah. But have y'all seen any evidence of that in this season?
Yeah, earlier we talked about how. Oh gosh, which one was it?
I'm trying to remember too.
The cowboy, or the Bronco, or the bucking bronc one, where they had to be a certain height. We thought.
Yeah, but that's not a twist. That's not a twist, though.
Those are not twists. They're prime. Those are prime rules that just weren't announced or discussed. I don't know.
I mean, the fact that we can't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mono.
I was just going to say I haven't seen evidence of a twist. I would say though that they did freak out when they were about to get hit with a twist in this one. I would have poopy too, probably. Like I would have expected someone said, "Oh, now you have to build a dog toy, and add it to the model."
That'd been fun.
That would have been fun. Cool, though. It would have freaked me out.
Yeah.
Oh, that kind of twist. Sorry.
Twists always freak you out because
new challenge element.
And they add something in.
Will almost did one there, right? When he was like,
yeah, surprise extra team.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
That's a twist on the whole challenge. Sorry, the whole contest, everything. So.
Yeah. So Dom and Ethan seem to struggle a little bit with the challenge. They noticed the weakness in the neck and the feet early, and then they put attention to it. But do you think their lack of, they've missed 3 challenges. Do you think they missed a little bit of skill building in the challenge about how sturdy to make what they built? They didn't do the Buck and Bronco. They didn't do 2 or 3 of the challenges that these already have. And do you think that put them at a disadvantage?
Well, they have. So yes, there's so it kind of, to me, it evens out. And this is my opinion. And the reason is, so they miss out on experience of having those challenges, but they get an advantage of coming in completely rested and not already into the mix of just getting, it's basically the long walk. If you've ever read that book by Stephen King. So yeah, the teams are already starting to, getting more and more tired with each challenge, more exhausted, and coming in fresh. You have that new person energy, but you lack the earlier episodes experience under your belt. So, if you're a decent enough builder to go through casting, it's probably a wash.
Right. And also they don't have as much experience where the brick pit and everything is. Although it's possible, Wilbur probably has told me that they went through the initial trainings thing and then maybe they were a team that got cut, but then asked to stick around or something like that. Yeah, not that I would know that. So
no, I would expect they'd have to go through all the orientation, whether it was early or whether it was later. But just the way that I understand the production works, they need to create the same baseline for all teams going in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this all goes. This goes back to there's a federal law in place ever since it was what was that competition show? It was a game show like way back in the day. It wasn't Pyramid or whatever, Ask Me a Question or whatever. But when they threw the show, the Congress stepped up and created a federal law around these types of contests that govern, you can't influence an outcome. You can't throw a game. You can't do this. You can't do that, winning or losing. So, there's a massive fine for the production, the teammates or whomever. would get in a lot of federal trouble for that. So I'd
Right.
expect that they're complying with federal regulation in the U.S.
Interesting.
Cool deal.
I
All
think that I totally agree, Moto, but I think I know Dom builds some, but Ethan he's quite prolific. He builds quite a lot. But I've
Yeah.
noticed his models are a bit smaller.
Mm.
They're better for his platform. And the dog is pretty big. So it may have just been threw him a little bit of a curve there. A little bit of a curveball. Yeah, like you said, no bucking bull experience, because we learned a lot when we did our shower shake, and then we applied it to the fan later on, which was
Right.
another strength challenge. So that helped a lot. So I would say that probably just a little out of their area of comfort zone. That probably threw him out for a bit. So not to mention that bulldog too, with Liam and Emily. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Love that team. They're great. But those bricks, making something that big, stacking the bricks, that'll tire you out. That'll tucker you out really fast. So I think they were building, and there's nothing else you could use. I think they honestly got just fatigued of building this just straight up brick, constantly going, and then they just ran out of time because they ran out of momentum.
Yeah.
So it's little things like that. Oh, go ahead.
Well, one thing I noticed is if you notice when they're stacking the brick, Liam and Emily, they're one-handed stackers. Whereas if you're doing extremely fast brick model, you have to do left-right. You have to be ambidextrous stackers.
I didn't even see that.
Hey, you know what? I've always said that I'd give my left arm to be ambidextrous. I'm just saying. So anyway.
No, but I can't remember, but I think Lauren and Brian did ambidextrous stacking. I know I did it.
I did. I think I did. Yeah.
But yeah, if you're under that size challenge, it seems obvious once I say it, but people should be practicing ambidextrous stacking. If you don't do it today, if you're really going for the show, you should be able to ambidextrous stack, repeating patterns very quickly. You should be able to do left, right at the same time. Otherwise, that clock is going to kill you if you're doing just single stacks. Oh yeah, we got the thumbs up.
Chef Van Winnen has come through with a screenshot.
Wait, Chris, we've forgotten the most important part of the show.
That's true. The
Canadian
chart,
content. We haven't done the Canadian.
The infamous chart.
Oh, all right.
Part of the show.
How's that for instantaneous results?
There you go.
The earlier instantaneous results. Why can't I not make that smaller? Oh well. Yeah. No. All Canadians survived once again because Canadians are out.
Beauty.
So there's 3 hosers in the game still. 38% of the content. And 5.
Wow, that number is getting higher.
It is.
Yeah. That the U.S. number, we're below 65%, man.
You are.
Holy cow.
You are.
Damn.
Also could be known as 38 cents is equal to 63 cents US. No,
That's
not that
perfectly
bad, thankfully.
Your fancy metric math, I don't understand it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't make any sense. Anyway, so yeah, that's not what I wanted. There we go.
All right, there we go.
All right.
Because
Thank
I wanted
you.
dogs together, and also the actual.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
It's
That's
cool.
why it took me extra time because I thought, this time we kind of want to comparison.
No, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. Okay, I'm just going to put this out there. Elephant in the room. They had her out of her
Hockey jersey.
her hockey jersey. Okay. And she's a lovely lady. Do you think that was on purpose?
Maybe.
Yes.
I'm just
half of me says that they're pissed when there's not continuity, but half the time maybe they told her. I don't know. That's a hard call.
I don't know. She also was one of the most. I mean, they had the very funny bit where she's going all squee about the dog, and I will say I'm sure that was planned in a little bit, but it was darn funny. I'm just going to go ahead and say
I bet that was her idea.
It could have been,
like,
or it could have been his. But she
That
was
was
genuinely
awesome.
happy. She was genuinely happy about the dog and everything. So they, the Pomeranian, whatever I believe it is.
Yeah, it's Palm.
Papillon.
Papillon.
That's it. All right. So talk to me about their build. What did you think?
I love the tail, first of all.
Yeah.
The tail's
Yeah,
really
I would say
good
that's
looking.
the best part of the build was the tail and everything.
And the face is really good as well.
I just noticed that they used all those spiky rubber bits.
Yeah, I was
underneath
going to say,
the
for me, it was the
hair.
inner skirt.
Isn't
The
that
inner
great?
skirt with the creature,
I was saving that for
creature
last.
spikes. Yeah.
That's really good. And you got extra teeth. You see some exposed Technic here and there, sure, but I think generally it's really good. The color is pretty much dead on, the mix of nougat and dark orange.
Yeah.
And it seems that they did. I mean, you can see. Actually, you're mentioning that. I didn't notice the exposed Technic. However, that made for a strong, leg, whatever, going down like that. But it also was a small dog.
Guys, take a look at the tongue. They have a 2x2 translucent round tile.
Yeah, they got the slobber coming
little
off.
drool.
Yeah, they got a drooly little tongue. That is.
I call those the floor sliders. Those inverse.
Floor sliders.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they use it for usually. It's slide them out on the floor.
Yeah.
It also looks like they thought through where the strap was going to go. If you'll notice that the fur kind of sticks out on both sides, so they had something to kind of catch that and keep it connected. So when they pulled it, but also again, this is a small dog, so they didn't have to worry about as much strength there. I
really like this one.
I think they've integrated some of those plates back into the model underneath the collar, which is really, really smart. If you think of a fulcrum type of thing going on, but awesome.
It was interesting during the show that they never showed anybody testing how they would move on the ground.
Oh, except Dom and Ethan. And that was it.
Dom and Ethan.
Oh, did
they?
They did? Okay.
And it ate itself. Yeah.
I'll bet it wasn't very eventful. They probably just towed it for 5 feet, and they're like, "Okay, good," and threw it back on. It's probably not very.
I would expect to have seen that because that would have given an idea of who's were going to survive. But I can see why they didn't do it. But anyway.
So something that bothers me, and I don't know what's there. Do you see right above where it says Dave and Emily? That little section right there almost looks like it was something that popped out. I wonder if they had some mechanics in it or something. Do you see what I'm saying? You see that? It's almost like a panel.
Yeah, I see it. I think.
To me, it looks like a half plate, which means it's probably an offset due to the bracket using brackets instead of snot bricks. Is my guess.
Could be.
Yeah,
you're talking about the seam right here? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean it's a perfect little panel there. So I wonder what's going on.
I'd blame it on brackets. I think they had extra legs that they stuck onto the side, and then they decorated those.
Gotcha. I got you.
That's cool. You get a bracket offset, which is a half. It looks like a half bracket offset due to the math of it. But,
There's probably a little bit of the angle as well. But yeah,
could be.
Anyway.
All right, next.
They crop the feet. So if you look closely, I think that's where the Technic was really showing us a little bit lower. So kudos to the editors for making the models look great.
Oh, there's a contestant right there. There he is.
Yay, Ethan.
What's up? I've been trying to join this for like 30 minutes. My computer was like, I fixed it, unlike our dog.
Have your pet spayed or neutered? Anyway.
That would have been great if Bob, what's his face, Bob Barker would have walked out or whatever, and
or Jim Carrey. Yeah.
All
right, cool deal. All right, here we go. All right, Emily and
I love this one.
Emily and Liz. This is really good.
Aaron.
I'm sorry. Aaron and Liz.
They did a great job, but once again, the scale of the dog. If you look, it got hit by a brick. It got shortened, but on height, but overall, the brilliant use of flex tubes and stuff was really clever.
It's such a clever, it's so simple. It's like, it kind of like, I don't know what, but it's just, I love it. It's just so much fun.
Well, it's got a whimsical, the whimsical look of it is fun.
It looks like it's in motion very much. Like it really captures the energy.
One thing I remember.
They're the one team that didn't have to shape the dog's body. They just covered it with those
make a brick and then make the straw. It's brilliant.
No, seriously, if you look at the core, it's all it's a Technic box just slabbed out. Yeah.
It is.
It's really smart. Really smart.
And they got Mop Dog.
One thing that I remember
how's it going, man?
One thing I remember Liz talking about with this dog is, the build challenge is 3 days, and the flex tube, they bent it down, but the second and third day it started to bend up. So the first day it was, the flex tube was down, and then the second and third day, that's when it started to get up. And
it looks good. I think it's fun.
Yeah, it'll keep recovering.
This is why I have no clue what me and Dom would have done if we got this dog.
Yeah, because one of my thoughts were, why wasn't it more downward? Because that's how the dog looked itself. So hearing that explanation that it was originally, and then it just kind of warped back to its regular form.
Yeah, Flex Tube will try to always go back to its former shape unless you like heat gun it or something crazy.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. I think maybe some weakness in that the face looks a little plain, and the hair going nose bridge or whatever. I think that just kind of stood out as a little like, oh, well, that's okay. But it wasn't. But I thought the solution they came up with was the solution for that dog. And
I have a question for Ethan. Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I have a question for Ethan. Were you guys allowed to ever cut flex tubes?
I don't think so. That would have been nice though. But honestly, how about they didn't say anything that we could not? But I don't think anyone cut flex tube.
Yeah, you didn't have anything sharp on set anyway, so.
Except
you just ask. No, you just ask for it. If you need to cut flex tube, you just ask for the tool, and they probably bring it out. It's not like they don't have that stuff.
I mean, we never bothered to try that. We didn't use any flex tubes, but interesting.
No, that was one of the ideas it's going to have for later challenges, to use flex tube and ask for, because the gaffers and the anyway, trust me, they have tons of tools to be able to clip that stuff, especially electricians. Sure. The best boys, electricians, is that their name?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we didn't have any in our drawers or anything.
Bing bong. Yeah. No, you just have to ask for it, and they probably provide it.
Hey, don't be talking about your drawers on my show. All right, so let's move on to the next here. They didn't have any. By the way, they were able to build a good thick.
Let's address the elephant in the room. Look at that face.
I meant to up. My laptop is glitching. I'm gonna have to leave.
Ethan, I felt whenever a dog broke, I felt it. In my stomach, because I'm one of the few teams that's had the experience of going through a runway with a failure.
It is not a good feeling. It's like
no, it's not.
And we were so happy with our build too, and this was on my birthday too, and everything was going so great, and then this happens. I was like, oh no.
You officially beat me for worst birthday ever on set. I thought mine was the worst. Yours is now officially the worst.
All right, so they brought in cupcakes. It was a great day, and then I think the next day.
Nice.
This.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Did you guys get to test the collar before the runway show? Did you know that was a thing or what?
I mean, we had our collar at the table, and we would always test it every now and then. But I guess at that moment, the legs just gave out. It's like, oh, I'm done.
Well, yeah. And what did it for me is the minute they rolled down that green stuff, I was like, oh my God, the tables have no friction. All of a sudden, they're rolling it across this uneven padded surface. That's going to make the difference.
And sorry, just a comment in the future, the Bulldog one, it was using the little Technic plastic wheels. And I was like, that thing's not going to run at anything. Like it won't run on any surface that isn't slippery, right?
Yeah.
But, and for the record, I almost took a picture of, instead of grabbing this screen capture, I almost grabbed the screen capture of it falling apart. But then I realized Ethan was going to be on the show, and I was like, no.
Don't bring back the nightmares.
Okay. Model-wise, though, you guys, I really think you did a great job. I mean, I really do. You put the drool on there, isn't that right? Didn't y'all put drool on there?
I don't remember that. I remember the tongue. I was really happy with how the head turned out.
The head is really good.
I don't remember if I added drool or not.
Is this the pre-run shot? Did they take that before, or did they take that after?
Steven might have to do the thermometer, but a couple days later, like I don't know when this photo was taken, because about 4 days later they gave us this tub of parts and say, hey, we need you to rebuild this dog. We didn't do pictures, so I don't know what this picture is.
Yeah, you can say that because something very similar happened to Caleb and Jacob. The puppet got badly damaged. Not by them, by somebody else on set. And this was off camera, after the competition. They wanted some beauty shots, so that guys need to rebuild it. They're like, fine, and then they did, and then I think it broke again or something. But yeah,
they just pour like a big bucket of brown plates and go, hey, can you do this again?
I'm like, no.
Yeah, it does happen.
But I'm pretty sure this is rebuilt. I don't know.
Go ahead, Moto. What's up?
Well, everybody always wonders why there's that disclaimer at the very end of each episode that says, some things may have been altered to fit the production, blah, 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 or whatever.
Yeah.
This is the exact reason they put that disclaimer is if between the model being finished with hands off and it's complete and the production doing their beauty shots, if the production has a catastrophic failure or something, they do give the teams a chance to recover the model in order to make it as true to the spirit of how it was.
One thing I do want to show is I rebuilt him
with
and
wheels.
And I added some wheels and
that's funny.
Anyway,
Ethan,
got some broken legs, a neck thing,
neck brace.
Are those casts?
Yeah,
he's got casts on his legs.
That's great.
It makes me laugh.
I'm so proud of you, Ethan.
So that's what you have to do is you have to own your failure and have fun with it, right? That's
right.
kind of
That's right. Like our friend Dana's not here, but he has to own his failure too.
We survived. That's all that matters.
In honor of Dana, we'll put the fail rover up there. So
that
there
is
we go.
thing in the world. So I think you said you survived. I think that's fair. I did like if we go back to the dog itself, we did see a lot of hair. We did see a lot of it didn't. Did the head break? I'm trying to remember.
The base of the neck did.
Okay.
When the feet.
But still, I mean, look, we got these ears. We got the paws look really funny, and you got the tail is really good, and it's relatively. I mean, it's not like the crazy flex tubes, but still, it's a very nice looking model. You guys really pulled it off. It looks good.
It did look a little too long for me, even though it is a long dog. I get that, but it just didn't proportion wise. It looks a little too long.
I think it's pretty accurate, though.
I think the problem, it needs to be a little thicker because we had tape measures and we measured everything and it was pretty close. It needed to be a lot of parts fell off. I will say that.
But I'm just noticing a purple piece like right here or something.
I'm like 90%. I am 90% sure this is the rebuilt model of it that we.
Yeah, probably.
Gotcha.
It still looks good.
That looks great. Fantastic, you guys. Now. I don't know if you can. This is a thumb up, thumb down from Steven that you could where the answer to this. Did they show y'all in order? Did you guys go early and have that failure and have to wait?
I thought we went second, and in the show we were third. So we were the first dog that broke, and I was like, "Oh no!" I thought we were going home. So
you were sitting there. You guys actually were sweating that out, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We were either second or third. The show showed us third, so it probably was third. I thought it was second, but I remember just waiting. It was like, oh no.
That's how I felt with the towers. We had the low number, and I'm like, none of them are breaking.
And then
I knew Steven was freaking out when he wouldn't adjust my hair anymore. That's what you know.
God, I completely forgot. I'm like, I'm dying over
normally
here.
they were behind me on the risers, and they would always do the hair flip every time I was done jumping around to make sure the hair wasn't frizzed out on the risers. But for the shake challenge, in the beginning, I'm getting my hair flipped, and all of a sudden I'm like, uh-oh. Those guys are sweating because they're not zhuzhing me anymore.
Yeah, Bono, your ponytail would be like a fan, like a Japanese fan on the back, like this crazy mane. It's like,
but yeah, he's not lying. Those boys were freaking out.
Yeah, that was bad.
So in other words, when the Ericksons get nervous, they stop touching Moto. That's what I just heard.
You know what? Yes.
All right. So you are. How hard is it to sit there and knowing that the only way that you can go is for somebody else's to fail? Are you kind of going, okay, break, please? I love y'all, but please break.
I hate to think that, but
yes.
Kind of, yes. It's true.
It was only our second episode. I was like,
I love you guys.
Ethan, we're only human. I mean, you want to stay on the show, so no, I didn't wish ill of any team, but I wasn't going to feel horrifically awful if someone else trashed their hat.
All right, let's move on, Jeff. We don't want to humiliate. All right, so
there you go. This is just
now we're
this is the chef's kiss, man.
Mm-hmm.
All
it
right.
looks just like the actual dog.
It does.
It does.
It's dear
they
God, they
tilted
nailed
the
it.
head up. They didn't have it just like straight out from the body.
Can I comment on that really quick? So that's brilliant. It brings it to life more. And Amy and Jamie, when they saw our world serpent, they loved it, but they said, "Why isn't the head looking down at the boat?" I'm like, we don't have time. Sorry. And they kind of like knocked a few points a little bit. Like, hey, well, there's not a point system, but they're like, well, I'd like to move the head around a little bit. And that's what they did. And it's like,
this thing is...
it's like I have nothing bad to say about it.
One thing that does irritate them is they even had it built, but if you notice on the back left leg, there's a section missing. And it was on their table and they forgot to put it on.
Oh, no. Well, I was about to say, I noticed that in that picture. Oh, man.
You know what? With everything else going so right, this one, and by the way, a lot of people don't do this, but the use of the curved slopes, with what I want to call them, curved wedge slope plates,
correct,
to get a graceful, more articulate shaping than just regular stud out patterns is beautiful. Like if you look at the hind leg, you see two of the really large wedge curved slope pieces being used in brown. Yep, there and there, one on the bottom, one on the top. That amount of attention to detail, really brings out the musculature of their animal.
Yeah.
There's another one too. A lot of everybody else had a straight back on their dog, if you notice, but not here. It rises up and then it goes to a valley and then back up to the neck muscles. And at the bottom, it's a
they even have the torso and the chest.
They've got
everything
so
shaped.
it's like a little bit of an S shape almost. It's perfect.
And the legs are, the legs have shape and movement to them. They're not just four straight legs.
Yes.
You can see you can see the articulated skeleton and muscle underneath this belt. It's just rendered beautifully. They really paid attention to their doggo and did a great job.
But can I say, with that section out of that back leg, that almost looks structural. It was going to connect all that up. I mean, I guess there's technic through there. Look at the snot action going on right there.
Yeah, they were going to probably snot connect. They probably had snots on the other panel, and it was all going to lock in.
I think it's a lot. That's thicker than it. I think we're seeing the 1x2, but we're probably a bit wider than that. Because if you look,
look at the macaroni pieces for the feet.
Oh, I know.
I mean, there's little things there that just kill it. It's just killing it.
This one, it doesn't look like there's a technic structure in there at all, and I would have assumed that everybody would try to do that just so that they wouldn't fall off.
Maybe.
Ethan?
Ethan,
you don't have to. I mean, you can side lock stuff with brick, and it's just as strong.
Our team isn't really good to ask advice with structural integrity.
I was poking fun.
Did you see if they use technic?
I was so focused on our build, I wasn't.
Well, they a lot of the teams fell into the danger of I'm making a fancy box. You know what I'm saying? There's a box, and then you try to sculpt around it. That can work. I'd love to go back in the episode, and maybe I will later, and look and see what they had going on. They probably do have some sort of structural box in there, but they were smart enough to be able to then bring the snot, because there's studs going sideways, studs going down, studs
upside
going
down,
forward and back.
You got upside down studs too.
Yeah, they do. That's right. Studs going down. So that's cool. I mean, that's amazing.
They built this fast. Like, I remember 6 hour mark. I was like, whoa. That was when I was looking around. I was like, man, how did you do that? I mean, they built this thing fast.
But they were using muscle memory. They've done this before. That it's really important. You can see teams that have done whatever challenge-ish kind of thing before, and they've built animals before, and so this was almost muscle memory for them. They didn't have to think; they knew where they were going. So that's awesome. All right, the next one, the corgi.
Very cute.
Yeah, it was very cute.
You see everybody laughing in the back over there.
Yeah, well, it had the
Little wiggle butt.
it had the
Wiggle butt.
butt wiggle thing. Was
That is
fantastic.
cool to see motion on the animal.
Yeah,
That
I
was
mean, big props to them for that. They put a motor in there and all that kind of stuff. Well, but can you tell me how long this whole little process? Thumbs up, thumbs down from Steven. This little filming of the awards. How long did that take?
I think this was like all of the. I don't remember. This was a long process though.
Like
I mean,
a day, y'all were
yeah.
sitting there, kind of thing.
Probably
Okay.
about a day.
I was going to
I'd
say, if it looks like to me, it would have been a full day of production.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 or 3 hours of build time in the early morning, and then it went straight to this.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Fun.
So yeah, the corgi is really cool.
Pretty good.
It is good.
Yeah, he's
Although,
got a
you know what
great,
he said that his corgi's got kind of called a fox or whatever, or by it looks a little fox-ish, but the corgi.
No, he was trying to make a fox, and people told him it was a corgi, so he leaned into it and started doing ridiculous corgis. I think.
Right,
was the
right, yeah, that's the
narrative.
story. That's
Yeah.
the story there. So, but anyway,
The amount of orange on the brick pit, and they were able to pull this off was. They pulled it off pretty good.
Yeah, orange is not a well-stocked color for the
Mhm.
brick pit at all. So kudos for
Okay.
that.
Good to know. Any criticism maybe for this one?
Can you go back to the wide shot?
It's a
I
straight
like
body.
it, but
Yeah.
the body's even this dog. You can see it goes down to that little valley behind his shoulders and goes back up, and it's almost perfectly straight across on the other
Yeah.
dog. I remember that the back of the head kind of it stopped too quickly. It didn't have that nice
Mhm.
slope that this guy has on the right, and the legs are a little straight. Like they look about the same, but if you look at the corgi, the hind legs are quite a bit larger.
Well, the whole
So-
corgi is taller by a head.
yeah.
Yeah,
You can see
it's
how the
all
head is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really good, but maybe there's a few little nitpicks that would come out of the top.
But-
How do they do it again?
They might have actually started with the head though too, and scaled the rest of the body to the head, right?
Probably.
Mhm.
Because
Probably.
that's like to me that would make the most sense to start with the most difficult part, right?
Usually for big animals, you start with
Well,
the head.
yeah. If I was going to do it, I would have put the best sculpture on the head, and then let it go, because you got to focus. You got to get the eyes. Basically, the face is where you read all the emotion. So if you blow the head, and
It's over.
we're going to see it coming up. If you mess up the head, you're pretty much toast. Nothing can save you on
It's
a
true.
character.
It's so crucial. I usually whenever I build a big animal or whatever, I usually start with the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But props to them. So they undersized the dog for a small dog, but they got big props for the mechanical butt wiggle they added to it, which is really
Mhm.
cool. So,
And they
To
did
be
get
fair, it
called
looks really good.
yeah.
They did get called out for the monotone, like just only using orange and not adding any other color in it
Mm.
to give some texture or to give some variation.
Nougat.
Yeah.
Nougat.
But
A
did
little
you-
bit of nougat would
Yeah, nougat would have.
They had some nougat. Maybe they weren't well stocked in the nougat. I don't
maybe.
know.
I don't remember seeing a lot of nougat.
You know, it's a shame that Dana's not here because of all this nougat talk. You know,
Hey guys, I have to say my goodbyes. I
Oh.
have a place I need to be. So I will let you guys. I don't know what that is.
Nougat.
Oh,
Nougat.
there you go.
Milky
But
Way.
I will say my goodbyes. I have to go. I have to be on a pre-recorded thing. I will see you guys later.
Bye.
Great talking. Great seeing you guys. Moto,
See you, man.
everybody. Great to see you guys.
Absolutely.
Have fun.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye bye.
See you, man.
Next one. Or
By the way, he's not here.
I was just like, I didn't do that. What?
All
That was
right.
Random.
Okay, cool deal. All right, go ahead. Let's go to the next one there. All right, the bulldog. The bulldog.
The chonker.
Yeah, and you know what? They even if you look there, they kind of undersized it. It's about the same though, but yeah, that's a big chunky dog to
Mhm.
build versus the smaller dogs and everything. That's I question whether it was kind of fair, but
yeah.
because that's a lot of brick and a lot of size of bricks to then pull down that runway there, and obviously the back legs laying behind.
I wonder how accurate this is to a real dog show because I noticed their dog left a little bit something behind on the runway.
Oh, did he?
Well, the leg.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. I see what
But I
you're
was
saying.
being sarcastic. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, Ethan, did the dogs poop on the stage, or did y'all have?
I did not see. I don't think so. No, they were very well trained. Except
No, good. All right, good deal. Let's go to the build there.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, they didn't give a far away view. It was just the.
No, they're always going to, the glamour shots are always going to crop out the nasties. to make it look as good as possible. I do like the nose, the fact that they got the correct shaping on the nostrils inset.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot going on that was really good, but it was just time. Just there's not enough hours in the day to finish what they're going for. Are you guys familiar with Australia, Lego Masters Australia?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you guys remember when Kale was trying to build like a full-size car? It was just like
Oh,
Season 1, yeah.
I mean, this was like a reduced version of that happening, where it's just like you're just not going to finish it, man. You know,
too much time. All right, so I really appreciate the fact that they set the eyes back in there and made droopy stuff over there. That was amazing. They give that kind of that rough, fleshy look around the mouth and everything, even though it's kind of bricky. I think it's good. They had a great start. Yeah. It was wise of them, don't you think, to save themselves though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did like the fact that they built it bricky. I think that that still brings you back to the original Lego sculptures, like from years gone back and stuff. Like even the master builders would build that, or like for the theme parks and stuff, right? They build like that. And I mean, looking at that, hold on, maybe I can zoom in a bit.
Well, there's no other way. You have to break them. You don't have times for slopes and stuff. You just got to jam the brick in.
But I mean, look at the contours they got in this. Like, they did a really good job of contouring. Like they got that body structure, I would say, that the actual dog has, right?
Yeah, and that tongue sticking all the way out with the little drool on the end. That's really fun.
Yeah.
If they had like an hour, 2 more hours, it would have been really good.
They could have fixed the R2D2 legs. Yeah. I'm not trying to be mean. And I think this is the one that actually had those like the hard plastic small Technic wheels, like the old wedge belt ones.
On this one, it almost feels like they spent too much time on the sculpting and not enough on the Technic structure of the legs to hold them on.
Right. Because even if they'd have packed bricks around those Technic things, they would have probably still broken loose. So, okay.
I do know. This is the perfect opportunity to play that golden brick. This is the reason it exists.
Would they have gotten eliminated if they hadn't played the golden brick? I don't think so. I think their build was good enough.
I don't know. It wasn't complete though. I mean, even though there were parts falling off, it was not even complete to start with. So
there's no way to know unless it happened. Trust me, there's just no way you'll ever know.
Yeah.
You could, shoulda, woulda, coulda anything to death. You just got to go with what happened.
Because there were 3 that had technical difficulties. So
yeah, there was a lot more failures on this one than the Hat's Incredible, which kind of blew my mind. I thought they're going to have maybe 1 issue or 2 issues, but not as many as what wound up being on set.
Okay, all right. Let's keep on going here.
Yay!
All right. This is the Doctors. That's pretty darn impressive. The face, don't you think?
Yeah,
it looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And the ears are nice. They complemented the ears.
Yeah.
And they went with the idea of the moving legs, which would have been so awesome if they were able to pull that off. Sadly, they weren't able to do it. But the amount of time that they built this fast, because they spent a lot of time working with that idea, but it just didn't work out. They built this. They cranked they're really fast. What's the term for building fast?
Bricks per hour.
Bricks per. They're
late BPM, high BPM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they were laying down. Did they use the core that they had started with, or they totally scrapped that?
I'm pretty sure they kept the core, just were able to adapt and
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's amazing about this one is if you took off those eyebrows, those 4 elements, they would have skunked their whole build.
Yeah, that's right. The little bit of detail around the eyes, giving it some emotion, made a lot.
Those eyebrows set the entire model, which is nuts. So think about everything was set with those 4 little bows, 2x2 bows.
Yeah. So I thought they were in big trouble. But they got their act together, but they didn't really show that. They're like, oh, their legs don't work, and then they come back and they have this miraculous dog. So, but kudos to them.
Next, I guess.
Yeah.
They didn't have a close-up shot that wasn't them carrying it, so I just grabbed that shot.
Okay. All right. So obviously this had a runway fail. What do you guys think?
The dog looks good.
The shaping is good. It's all one color though, which is really rough.
So is their dog technically, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean they got the lighter tan going through the mouth and down the bottom, but
yeah, they've got some issues there in their blockiness. It's very it's a little rudimentary, I think, right there. You got that section that's all of a sudden jutted in.
Yeah.
And the legs.
You're
the
right.
legs
There's a cavity. Cavity in the rib cage. There's not enough shoulder mass. Things like that. Those minor little things. And the front is completely flat, where normally a dog has front breastbone muscles.
And this is the one that the head popped off as soon as they started pulling it, right? So
right. Right. All right. So Ethan, here's that moment. I don't know how far after you guys there is, but you see them set the dog down and start to pull it, and the head pops off. What went through y'all's mind? What did you and Dom say to each other at that moment?
I think it wasn't. I don't think we had to say anything. It was just a look.
That may have saved your bacon. Is that what you thought? Yeah, that's hilarious. All right. All right. Any other thoughts about this? The head sculpt was a little wonk. It didn't extend. Can you go back to the kind of the front view? Can you zoom in down there?
Yep. The ears were awesome.
Yeah, the ears were awesome. I mean, they had awesomeness. It just wasn't cohesively awesome.
Yeah.
I really like the cape for the tongue too. I don't think anybody else did that. That was really
that was amazing, and that wasn't highlighted. But yeah, the cape being up there for the tongue. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
The sides of the head are flat, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Like here, you mean, or
and
it's all one. When you see this perspective, the body does look sort of boxy.
Yep. Agreed. All right. So, all right. Is that the last one we got? Oh yeah, the down. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They were smart going the route that they did.
Yeah. So I wondered if that was going to be quote unquote acceptable, or was that okay? What do you guys think?
It was brilliant. They saw the dog do that. They said, "Hey, why don't we do that?" Right? Like,
yeah, they were able to pull off the movement, and I think like one of you guys mentioned that building the dog in that pose made it look more lifelike.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, had they tried to build that dog standing straight up, those legs, and they would have had big structure problems. So they were able to solve that within the rules cleverly. And I think their experience with the dog, right? They knew the dog could do that. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Strategery.
And just the fact that they got the Dalmatian, I thought that was hilarious because, firefighters, right? Like
they hip checked all the teams, knocked the table over, and everything. Dom, Ethan, tell us about that moment when the table went down.
Oh, I just want to say I was first. I got my color, and I was the first one there, and that was my goal. And then Crash comes and just. I mean, if you see the clip, he literally like hugs me. It's like, oh, hi, Crash. Oh.
I can pull up the clip. I'll try and pull up the clip on Instagram because I know someone had posted it.
All right, that'll be fun. Thoughts on the build here?
I mean, it's a good build. It looked good, and it was very smart to have him sort of crawling or whatever motion.
I think I remember they had a lot of wheels under there. Like I remember, probably 6 to 8 different wheels under there, which is really nice.
That's cool. Yeah, that kind of gave him the freedom just to do whatever under there because you weren't going to see it. That's kind of cool.
These guys are really. One of the strengths that I've picked up on just for myself is they are outthinking the contest. Right, that's what they do every week. Is they find that they thread that needle to really think outside and find the right zone to be in to really approach it.
Well, do you think that's part of their skill set and what they do in real life? I mean, here we go.
Boom.
Jesus.
I love that some of the contestants are like, "Whoa, are we going to film that again?" Because some people kind of stood back, right? That's
We
hilarious.
did.
So was this the last dog? Did we get them all?
Yeah, that's it. This is it.
Okay. So Ethan, how did you feel being called, out there, that was a rough, you guys started strong and then you had your tough week,
I was happy with our build. But yeah, that was a problem. But we survived.
All right. So how long is that sweat as you're getting called to the bottom two, and then they've got to deliberate? Do they have that decision immediately, or is that a little bit of time there that you got to sweat?
This is where it gets a little murky on how much we can answer.
I got you. And I understand that. You can say I can't answer that. That's all good. All right. So
do they make you guys stand there and watch the same ad that we have to watch?
No, we can talk about the judging when you're on the risers. What we can't talk about is the deliberation process. That's kind of I'd say a medium gray area for us.
I get it. So
this one was the winning one. So
right. The top three were this one, the Dalmatian, and what was the third one?
Hold on, I'll pull it up here.
The ducks. What is their dog?
The doctors, Austin. Hold on, I'll pull.
Yes, which they were kind of the surprise. They rose above mid pack a little bit there. So the top three. All right, agree. The winner was the winner.
Yeah,
it was great. It was great.
Now, Ethan, you don't have to say this. Agree. The right team went home.
I mean, I might be a little biased.
Well, they were also last or second last week too. So I mean, performance-wise, they were near the lower end of the pack anyhow.
Yeah, and there was a debate among us. I know y'all did a great job with the show. I wasn't here, but even just debating whether who went home last week should have gone home, and if these guys should have gone home last week. There may have been more. Like if the girls didn't make some sort of height requirement or something that added to their getting voted off. But I know they had a lot of issues, but they still did a pretty good job. And I think that the team that went home, I think that was the right call. John,
I mean, we're kind of seeing it this season. In season one, you saw it too. I can't remember how much it happened in our season, but bottom two teams surviving, and then the next episode, the one following it, to get knocked out. It's almost like, if you're in a boxing match, one punch lands you and it puts you on the ropes, kind of dazes you, and the swift follow up puts you on the mat.
Well, that doesn't bode well for Ethan then.
Well, I said,
fingers crossed.
There's exceptions to everything. I said it's just there's a general pattern that's starting to show up. It was season one, and then this one. It's happening at times, right? You see someone get put on the ropes, and then you see them get knocked out.
And for the record, Ethan, I've never met you, and I'm pretty sure you're a nice guy. I'm just being the comedian here, so I'm not. Don't take it personally.
By the way, you can tell he's Canadian because he's already apologizing for his slight jab. He didn't even give you a decent body blow. He gives you a little verbal jab, and he has to start apologizing.
Sorry.
It's all right, eh?
hey, this is a Texan, by the way. You need to be extra nice. All right, so I think the show went well. It was a very fun episode. One of the most entertaining ones, I think. Like I said, Will was kind of more seemed at ease and more genuine with folks and everything. I think that was it. Right team went home. Right team, I believe, won. So next week is pirate ships, right? Is that what we saw?
Explosive pirate.
Jamie wants Big Boom. It's going to be the Mythbusters pirate episode.
Yeah, so there we go. That's cool.
I guess
we're looking.
Release the squibs.
It looks like
and I don't know if y'all saw the little blurb where there's a Sunday coming up where they're going to play that extra. We're a week behind now, so they're going to play a new episode on a Sunday.
Oh,
and we'll figure out how we have to handle that and everything for the show. I guess.
Jeff, does that mean you've been living in the future this whole time? You're just being very polite to pretend that.
Yeah, no, no. I think we just skipped 1 week.
No, did you?
Okay.
Yeah.
They're doing a catch up week on a Sunday. I can't remember. I can't remember what Sunday they said it was going to be.
7th, I think.
Does anybody have a good monster car rally voice to kick
Sunday,
it off?
Sunday. $20 gets you the seat, but you'll only need the edge. So
there you go. Yeah. You pay for the whole seat, but you only need the edge.
Chris,
Monster trucks.
Monster truck.
What was that, Jeff?
I was to say we have Messy Monday. We can just do a messy that episode Messy Monday.
Well, yeah, that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We thank you for being here. Ethan, thank you for sharing a little insight of y'all's day that day.
We survived.
You survived. You did survive. And
so, Ethan, I've been in your place. Absolutely in your place. For the shake challenge, we barely survived. We survived just on core strength and not aesthetics because it was going to be, if it was not going to hold up, we were toast. I mean, it was over. So I know exactly what that feels like. And then, I think, our hat episode was kind of the complement to the dog episode. And man, having a critical explosion, the rocket didn't even lift off. It blew up on the launch pad. Right. So I've been there where, the failure just takes you out of the entire running. DQ'd from the beginning is not a great feeling. It's the worst feeling you can have. Not even qualifying.
Yeah, but you guys handled it well. Moto, you guys also handled it so well when that would happen, and I know it's tough. But thank you for being awesome sports in the thing. Mad respects to you guys. You are on the show. We're just sitting here armchair quarterbacking. You guys did the thing, went through the pressure, and shined well. Thank y'all for being here with us. We're at an hour and 12, so we need to go ahead and bring this down. I do believe Brick Blaze is on his channel. So if you're watching us, hop over there and give him a hello from us. Be awesome and build awesome, everybody. Have a great night. Goodbye.